In the vast multiverse of Marvel Comics, alternate realities often reveal the darkest potential of our favorite heroes. There have been multiple times when Tony Stark has become Doctor Doom, although there are some gray areas. These stories provide a unique lens to examine both characters, blending Stark's technological brilliance with Doom's dark mysticism and authoritarian nature. Let's dive into these stories where the boundaries between Iron Man and Doctor Doom blur. Iron Maniac. The Iron Maniac hails from Earth 5012, a reality where Tony Stark witnessed the deaths of nearly all his fellow Avengers at the hands of his universe's Reed Richards, who had become the tyrannical villain known as the Dictator. Traumatized by these events and consumed by rage, Stark lost faith in the heroic ideals he once stood for. He believed that trust, friendship, and teamwork had led to his downfall, and he decided that the only way to prevent such tragedies was through cold, calculated brutality. This is considered by many to be Tony Stark's first official Doctor Doom transformation, including Deadpool co-creator Rob Liefeld. The Iron Maniac first appeared in Marvel Team-Up number 2. This version of Tony is from a world where the Skrull supervillain Titanus kidnapped the Avengers to the planet Trellion, slaughtering many of them. He eventually traveled from his home dimension to the sacred timeline Earth 616, where he fought a variety of heroes while also warning them of the coming of Titanus. Upon arriving, Iron Maniac immediately clashes with several heroes, including the Fantastic Four and Doctor Strange, believing that they will betray him just as his own world's heroes did. He sees them as enemies rather than potential allies. His paranoia drives him to eliminate them before they can act against him. His brutal methods and willingness to kill set him apart from the more restrained and morally driven heroes of Earth 616. The Iron Maniac's armor looks very similar to Doctor Doom's, to the extent that the Earth 616 Reed Richards actually mistakes him for Doom when he arrives. However, he never claims the actual title of Doctor Doom, still seeing himself as Iron Man. Once the case of mistaken identity was resolved, Iron Maniac switched up to a purple and gray Iron Man suit, which he created out of the bottle decoy of the supervillain Diamondback, a former love interest of Steve Rogers. Despite his formidable power and determination, the Iron Maniac is beaten by the combined efforts of Earth 616's heroes. He was eventually defeated using a fragment of the Cosmic Cube, leaving him imprisoned. Quick TLDR on the Cosmic Cube. The Cosmic Cube is a powerful and mysterious artifact capable of altering reality according to the will of its possessor. The Cosmic Cube was created by advanced godlike entities known as the Beyonders. These entities exist outside of the multiverse and possess immense power. Within the Marvel Universe, several different beings and civilizations have created their own cosmic cubes, including the alien race known as the Skrulls and the Kree, which we also know from the Marvel Cinematic Universe. Iron Monarch. Earth 42777. Tony Stark, known to most as Iron Man, becomes something far more sinister. Evil Emperor Stark. But who is this twisted version of the genius billionaire, and what led him to conquer the world? Tony Stark becomes Evil Emperor Stark, or the Iron Monarch, in this series, Marvel Universe vs. the Punisher. Set in a dystopian future, this reality sees humanity ravaged by a virus that turns people into mindless, cannibalistic creatures. However, not everyone succumbs to the infection. Some, like Tony Stark, are transformed in other ways. As Emperor, Stark enforces strict laws and uses his advanced technology to subjugate the population. He sees himself as the last line of defense against the infected hordes, but in doing so, he sacrifices his humanity. One of the few who dare to stand against Evil Emperor Stark is Frank Castle, the Punisher. In this reality, Castle remains a hardened vigilante, determined to eradicate both the infected and those who exploit the chaos for their own gain. The Iron Monarch's downfall comes as his obsession with control leads him to make increasingly reckless decisions. His paranoia isolates him from potential allies, and his brutal methods turn many survivors against him. By adopting a look similar to Doctor Doom, Stark essentially mirrors Doom's role as a dictator who rules through fear and technological superiority. Both characters are geniuses with an unmatched mastery of technology, and both see themselves as the ultimate rulers who must impose their will on others for the greater good. What If? Iron Man, Demon in an Armor, number 1. In the original Demon in a Bottle storyline, Tony Stark struggles with alcoholism, which affects his life as both a businessman and a superhero. With the help of his friends and allies, Tony eventually overcomes his addiction and redeems himself. However, in What If? Iron Man, Demon in an Armor, the story takes a darker turn. In this alternate reality, instead of confronting his alcoholism, Tony Stark gives in to his demons. Rather than accepting help, he doubles down on his addiction, using his Iron Man armor as a crutch to maintain control over his life. As Tony's dependency on alcohol worsens, his judgment becomes increasingly impaired, leading him to make more reckless and dangerous decisions. As Tony's behavior becomes increasingly erratic, the Avengers and other heroes try to intervene. However, Tony sees their attempts to help him as threats to his autonomy and responds with hostility. In this story, Tony's Iron Man Spider-Man armor evolves into something much darker, reflecting his inner turmoil and his shift towards a more dictatorial mindset. The armor becomes bulkier, more imposing, and more militaristic, mirroring the iconic design of Doctor Doom's armor. The visual and thematic parallels between Tony's armor and Doom's iconic look emphasize Tony's transformation into a tyrant. As Tony's paranoia and alcoholism reach their peak, he fully embraces his new identity as a tyrant. By the end of the story, Tony Stark has effectively become a version of Doctor Doom, both in appearance and in his ruthless dictatorial behavior. Tony Stark's tragic transformation into a figure reminiscent of Doom serves as a cautionary tale. It explores how unchecked addiction, paranoia, and the need for control can corrupt even the greatest heroes, turning them into the very monsters they once fought against. Now I'd like to get into some honorable mentions that may have broader implications on how the MCU could adapt Robert Downey Jr. as Doom. Ultimate Doctor Doom. In a recent post on X, Marvel writer Dennis Camp claimed, "To understand Robert Downey Jr. as Doom, you must read Ultimates 4. This upcoming comic is set in the alternate Ultimate universe, where Marvel history has been mangled and warped by a villain known as the Maker. Ultimates 4 is set to release September 4th, 2024. However, many are claiming that this post should not be taken literally. Ultimate Doctor Doom is a darker, more monstrous version of the classic villain, with his physical transformation reflecting his inner malevolence. His storylines in the Ultimate Marvel Universe offer a fresh and modernized take on one of Marvel's most iconic villains, exploring new aspects of his character while maintaining the core elements that make Doctor Doom such a compelling antagonist. Ultimate Doctor Doom, also known as Victor Van Dam, is a reimagined version of the classic Marvel villain Doctor Doom, specifically created for the Earth 1610 Ultimate Marvel Universe. The defining moment in Victor's transformation into Doctor Doom comes during an experiment led by Reed Richards. The experiment meant to teleport matter to another dimension goes disastrously wrong, resulting in an explosion that alters the lives of everyone involved. Ultimate Doctor Doom is characterized by his extreme arrogance, cruelty, and disdain for humanity. His motivations are more personal and less tied to a code of honor that the classic Doctor Doom occasionally exhibits. He sees himself as superior to others, particularly Reed Richards, whom he blames for his transformation and his current state. Doom's actions are driven by a desire for revenge against Reed and the Fantastic Four. Doom Supreme. Doom Supreme, aka Doom Above All, is a version of Doctor Doom who beat his world's heroes and transcended his home reality, becoming a supreme force of multiversal evil. This version of Doctor Doom has defeated countless other variants and came as close as any villain before him to conquering the entire multiverse. An article online has been quoted saying, "It's highly likely that Robert Downey Jr.'s Doctor Doom will be a Doom Supreme in nature, even if not by name." This belief is based off of the current state of the MCU and the multiversal path they are going down. Having set up a battle between Kang variants for ultimate domination, with Doctor Doom filling the shoes as Marvel's new big bad, it is likely that this is the type of Doctor Doom we can expect in the MCU. Exploring the Marvel Universe often leads to fascinating what-if scenarios and alternate realities where familiar characters take on new and unexpected roles. Let us know in the comments below how you think the MCU will adapt one of my favorite villains, Doctor Doom.